Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan, and it is my pleasure to present the November 2024 entry of Llewellyn's 2024 Tarot Calendar. I am very excited. We are nearing the end of 2024, the year of wealth and wisdom, and pretty soon you won't see this calendar from me anymore, because we'll be moving on to 2025. And here is November 2024. There is no spread, as you can see. So, we have the Hermit card from the Tarot of the Vampires. Now, I want to specify which Tarot of the Vampires this is, because there have been a few tarot decks with that title. So, the Tarot of the Vampires, written by Charles Harrington. That name sounds familiar. Where have I heard that name before? Oh, that's where I've heard the name Charles Harrington before. I know I'm being a little pesty because I told y'all there's a surprise coming, and none of you were like, I know what the surprise is, Robert. I was so cheated out of that, you know? Anyway, written by Charles Harrington, illustrated by Craig Mayer. So, we have the Hermit card from this particular Tarot of the Vampires. We have the blurb. We have one symbol. We have another symbol. We have an article called "The Hermit is Not the Teacher," which I will get to because I have some insights about that. And then we have the blessing. And also keep in mind that this is the last Llewellyn's Tarot Calendar that will feature the Barbara Moore writing the insight spreads and tips. As of the 2025 calendar, which has already been published as you saw, it will be Charles Harrington. So, sip of my coffee and then we'll get right down to it. The Hermit, from the Tarot of the Vampires. The Hermit invites us to spend time alone, away from the distractions of everyday life, including people. People can be a distraction too. Gathering knowledge from others is worthwhile, but we should not accept ideas without assessing them, like Trump voters. Discernment is an important hermit quality. It most certainly is. Like discerning between somebody who prosecuted felons and somebody who's a 34-time convicted felon. And counting. Okay. So, I'm going to read the symbols first. We will start with the light, the lantern. Although in this case, it is not a handheld lantern. It is a lantern-type lamp that is suspended above the person writing in the journal. In almost every variation of this card, the Hermit carries a lamp that represents the search for personal truth. It may not be everyone's truth, but it will be their own. There is a story that I remember reading years ago about the Hermit card, and specifically it was about a philosopher, Androgenes, if I remember correctly. And I will look it up to reconfirm. Androgenes went about ancient Greece during the day with an oil lamp, a lit oil lamp. And that's all he did. He walked around ancient Greece in full daylight with an oil lamp, a lit oil lamp in his hand. People were curious, so they asked him, "What are you doing?" And he would reply, "I'm searching for an honest man." Then one day, Alexander the Great asked him, "How can I help you with your search?" And he said, "Move out of my way." Something tells me that Alexander the Great was not necessarily great in honesty. I wasn't there, so I don't know. Hello, Sekhmet. Do you want to join the video? Why, yes, you do. I love it when my cats earn their keep. They almost never do, Those of us who have cats, those of us especially who are either child-free cat ladies or child-free cat gentlemen like my life partner and I, we know that cats almost never work for their keep. If they do something, it's because they want to do it. But Sekhmet knows it makes me so happy when she's in my videos. Don't know, I want to kiss you. Let me kiss you, let me kiss you. Ugh, she's so skittish. Anyway, but yes. So, that goes to the other symbol, the journal. The hermit isn't about simply being alone or casual musing, meaning the hermit is not simply about being alone or about casually musing about things or people or ideas or ideals. The journal represents a focused review of ideas and measuring them against your current understanding of truth. I have lost count of how many times over the years I have recommended to clients, students, friends, loved ones to keep a journal. I have lost count of how many times I have read an article either in a magazine, a book, or online, whether it was a blog or an article from another website about keeping a journal. And some of you know that I keep multiple journals, to which I need to return to that practice because I've gotten a little lax. So, and of course, keeping a journal. Well, look at you, Durga. I mean, look at you, Sekhmet. Look at you, Sekhmet. So I definitely recommend journal writing. And of course, keep in mind that when one writes in a journal, one also experiences clarity about what one is writing. I know. So, we have the hermit is not the teacher. Some say the hermit is the teacher card in tarot, when the Hierophant actually plays that role. The Hierophant is unpopular due to his association with formal religion and education. The hermit teaches by example rather than by taking formal students or teaching classes. His life is a witness to his beliefs. A hermit is, by definition, a solitary being. Remember, the majors relate to the minors of their same number. Traditionally, the nines, as in key 9, the Hermit card, show single characters and how they relate to specific situations. This is very true. The 9 of Wands show one's attitude towards standing alone for a belief. The 9 of Wands traditionally depicts a man standing in the presence of 9 wands, one of which he is holding onto as a staff with his head bandaged. And then we have the 9 of Cups, enjoying bounty, the wish fulfillment card, a wish coming true, the manifestation of one's heart's desires, the 9 of Swords, fighting fears and dealing with insomnia, and the 9 of Pentacles, mastery and achievement. Not to mention the fact that I love the traditional image of the 9 of Pentacles. It depicts this woman who is in the vineyard that is a part of her estate, and she is basking in her bountiful bounty. She has the bird on one of her shoulders. She's wearing this luxurious gown, or house gown, if you will, or house dress. She has beautiful gold jewelry. She has gemstones, and there are all of these grapes, an ancient and infinite symbol of wealth and prosperity and bountiful opulence. So it's a really beautiful card for me. And as somebody who used to teach prosperity classes, I resonate with the symbol very much so. Anyway, so that being said, I also want to share some of my insights about both the Hierophant card and the Hermit card. So, in a tarot course in which I participated several years ago, tarot as a decision-making tool, the facilitator talked about the Hierophant card as spiritual wisdom from above. I would interpret that, no, I stand corrected. That was an interpretation I received from somebody that I still refer to as my personal psychic advisor, Roger Pratt. I haven't had a reading with him in more than a decade, but I still remember how much I learned from him through his tarot readings for me, as well as his Tarot 123 course. He taught me that the Hierophant card represents spiritual wisdom from above. And it is the card that I would interpret as listening to the deities that one follows, listening to the divine guidance one receives from the goddesses, gods, guardians, and guides, from the energies of the spirits. And then also, the Hermit card is spiritual wisdom from within. Over the years, I've read this in so many places, in so many books, as well as online. I've read it, it's been said so many different ways, but it basically goes, when we speak to the gods, we engage in prayer. When we listen to the gods, we engage in meditation. So praying is when we're talking to the gods. Meditating is when we're listening to the gods. So it's the same concept. When we are engaged, and in most of my readings when I use tarot, or tarot by itself, if the Hermit card comes out, I almost always look at it like spiritual wisdom from within and engaging in activities that connect oneself to their intuition, as well as to listening to the divine more clearly and more correctly, or more accurately, if you will. So prayer, meditation, journal writing, visualization. And there are others, but those are the ones that those are the recommendations that tend to come out of my mouth the most. And I also feel that, and I also find it interesting, that's another thing, because remember, in the tarot, the Hermit card is key 9. Now, there is a school of thought that says that when you reduce the digits of the calendar year numerologically, you get the tarot card of the year. So next year is 2025. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. So that would be the Hermit card. Now, the other school of thought, and this I definitely learned from the Many Moons Lunar Planners, offered by the Sarah Faith Gottes on Instagram, is that there is also a teacher card, which is the next card that numerologically reduces to that number. So after 9, we have 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. That would be the key 18, the Moon card. Now, what I find most fascinating about these two cards is that these are the cards for 2025. Keep that in mind. And we have the Hermit card, which is astrologically aligned with the sun sign Virgo. And we have the Moon card, which is astrologically aligned with its polar opposite sun sign Pisces. I find this fascinating. I find this fascinating in many different ways because this is not something we always see. The Emperor card is key 4. That card is astrologically aligned with the sun sign Aries. The polar opposite of Aries is Libra. Depending upon the tarot deck that you use, the Justice card is either key 8 or key 11. In astrologically speaking, it makes more sense for it to be key 8. No, key 10. No, key 11, a minute. 7 is Cancer, the Chariot. 8 is Leo. Yeah. I'm going to do a video on this, I promise, and then I'll go into more detail, because I went off on a tangent. Anyway, so that being said, so I'm very curious about the relationship between those two cards, especially for 2025. And last, we have the blessing. I love this. This blessing is so beautiful. I have loved, I would say, at least 90% of all the blessings in this calendar. There were one or two that I was like, yeah, it's okay. But this one is so beautiful, especially because I'm somebody who's been advocating for engaging in solitude, especially sacred solitude, for years and years. In fact, I will be engaging in much needed sacred solitude this month from Thursday, November 28th through Sunday, December 1st, 2024. And I am definitely in great need for engaging in sacred solitude. And I did finally realize that not everybody's lives are structured, that they can actually engage in sacred solitude for days. But there is something about engaging in sacred solitude for at least an hour. And if you really can't do an hour, see if you can do 10 minutes. See if you can do half an hour, 20 minutes. It makes such a difference. It really does. And I find that it resets me because I am an introvert. I'm actually an ambivert. I'm an introvert that is adapted to extroversion, but my default setting is introvert. So absolutely, having no contact with the outside world is something that I need on a periodic basis. And as much as I would love to engage in sacred solitude for 3 to 4 days each month, it's not always feasible for me to do that. It just isn't. So that being said, it definitely is a period of sacred solitude that I am very, 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 very much looking forward to. And during those 4 days, my computer will be off. My cell phone, my smartphone will be off. I will not leave my apartment for any reason at all. It's just going to be me and the cats and my books and my bed and my snacks and my journals and my decks, and I can go on and on and on. Anyway, so here is the blessing. When we withdraw from others, we want to enjoy the quiet and our own company as we contemplate what matters most to us. Sometimes just getting to that space is the hardest part. So for those of you who are going to engage in any amount of solitude between now and the end of November, between now and the end of 2024, the year of wealth and wisdom, or between now and the actual end of time, may you find comfort in the quiet and peace in the solitude. Remember, the stars are there, shining silently, reminding you that you are part of the wisdom of the world. I am eternally thankful to Llewellyn Publications for publishing a tarot-themed annual after not having done so for a full decade. I am most thankful to the Barbara Moore for writing the insight spreads and tips. I am most thankful to Charles Harrington taking the helm as of the Llewellyn's 2025 Tarot Calendar. And I am most thankful to all of the individuals who have sold this calendar in their stores, whether it is a chain bookstore, a metaphysical supply store, an independent bookseller, etc., etc., etc. And of course, a huge and humongous thank you to those of you in YouTube land who have purchased this calendar, whether you purchased it directly from Llewellyn Publications, whether you purchased it from some other website, whether you purchased it in person at a metaphysical supply store or an independent bookseller or a chain bookstore. If you've purchased this calendar, however you've purchased it, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. And last but not least, thank you to all of you in YouTube land for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, and all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel, and an extra big and beautiful and bountiful and beauteous thank you to those of you who have already scheduled your sessions. I wish all of you a beautiful night, a wonderful week. If you live in a country that celebrates Thanksgiving, may you have a beautiful and blessed Thanksgiving and so many opportunities to express gratitude and praise that your food gets cold if it's not meant to be cold. And as always, stay in tune with your intuition. Stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for the next video.